Good evening to India and a very good afternoon to South Africa. Hope everyone is safe during this pandemic. I am Ishika Mohanraj, a final year BCom student of Seshadripuram Evening Degree College. At the outset, I'm happy to inform you all that our Evening Degree College is celebrating its Golden Jubilee year. On behalf of our college, we congratulate all the stakeholders. Today's webinar is completely hosted by the students of Seshadripuram Evening Degree College. Therefore, I request everyone to kindly pardon us in case of any mistakes. Department of Library, in association with the University of Zululand, South Africa, is organizing this international webinar on global standards in library science, session 5. Now, I request Nagasudha ma'am, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, to play a small video of our college. Over to you, ma'am.
Journey begins with a small step, proving this statement true. It all began in 1930 when two women educational enthusiasts took up a noble initiative. In the erstwhile posh locality of Seshadripuram, Srimati Anandamma and Srimati Seethamma started a primary school with 20 children. Now, Seshadripuram Educational Trust under its umbrella has 36 institutions. It all began with the educational visionary Sri K.M. Nanjappa, the then President of Seshadripuram Educational Trust, in 1971, which has been a landmark in the history of education for the working students by starting Seshadripuram Evening College.
Our college started with the primary objective of imparting formal education to the quality and needy. The college is affiliated to the Bengaluru Central University. Being in the heart of the city, it has an easy reach and connectivity. Its premises comprise of spacious building with good canteen, computerized library, business lab, browsing center, Wi-Fi facility, sports club, thus well equipped for all academic, sports, co-curricular like NSS, NCC, YRC, etc. and extracurricular activities throughout the year. The college organizes orientation program for freshers and guest lecturers to equip them.
As most of us are working in the morning and studying in an evening degree college, it is very facilitative for us to excel in our jobs. Even though we are studying in an evening degree college, we are being provided many state level and national level opportunities to express our talents. Also, many cultural activities are being conducted.
SEDC is engaged in various cultural activities throughout the year. There are numerous committees in the college that perform variedly on their behalf and have a lasting effect on the college, students, as well as outsiders.
Our evening degree college believes in the vision to ignite the minds of every student to identify and develop their inner strength, with the mission to promote holistic development of students by offering quality education and making them self-reliant and progressive.
Our college NCC cadets will visit every academic year in Officers Training Academy Chennai and INS Kadamba Naval Base at Karwar. It will motivate our college NCC cadets to join Indian Armed Forces.
Thank you, Nagasudha ma'am. I now request Deepika of first year BCom to welcome and introduce all of the dignitaries to this international webinar. Over to you, Deepika.
A very good afternoon to South Africa and a happy evening to India. I take this opportunity to welcome you all for the 65th international webinar of our college. At the outset, I would like to thank all the office bearers of this great institution and welcome all of them. Now, I would like to introduce and welcome today's first theme speaker, Dr. Neil Davies Evans, Head of the Department of Information Studies at the University of Zululand, South Africa. Dr. Evans is currently a senior lecturer and a HOD in the Department of Information Studies at the University of Zululand. He has over a decade of higher education teaching experience in the field of chemistry, communication science, and information studies, where he now specializes in teaching multimedia and information and communication technology related courses at both under and postgraduate levels. His research interests encompass the fields of scholarship of teaching and learning, blended learning, predicting the acceptance of e-learning technologies, cloud computing, multimedia, clinical informatics, and school libraries. His community engagement has a history within Liasa, School Library, and Mutinzini Conservancy. Dr. Evans has made a significant contribution to the promotion of e-learning at the University of Zululand, which has been acknowledged by the Teaching and Learning Center and Cheheltasa National Excellence in Teaching and Learning Awards Committee. He became a Carnegie African Diaspora Fellow in 2017. He received the Vice Chancellor's Excellence in Teaching Award in the Emerging Academic category in 2017 and in the Developed Academic category in 2019, graduated with a postgraduate diploma in higher education in 2018, and in addition, the Teaching Advancement at Universities Fellowship in 2019. Currently, Dr. Evans is chair of LIS Heads Forum. Sir, on behalf of Seshadripuram Educational Trust, I welcome you for this webinar. Now, I would like to introduce and welcome today's second theme speaker, Dr. B.T. Sampath Kumar, Professor and Head of the Department of Studies and Research in Library and Information Science at Tumkur University, Tumkur, India. Dr. B.T. Sampath Kumar is a professor in the Department of Studies and Research in Library and Information Science, Tumkur University, Tumkur, India. He has rare distinction of achieving first rank in MSc, Library and Information Science and receiving gold medal. He pursued his PhD degree from Coimbatore University and also obtained postgraduate diploma in computer science from University of Hyderabad, Andhra Pradesh. B.T. Sampath Kumar has published more than 140 research papers in international and national reputed journals and seminars, conferences, proceedings. He has received the ILAPV Verghese Award for the best research paper published in the ILA Bulletin. He also received Best Academic LIS Professional Award by Library Professional Association during ICOL 2019 at Sardar Patel University, Gujarat. He served as Registrar, Dean, Faculty of Science and Technology, Director, College and Development Council, Syndicate Member and Academic Council Member of Tumkur University, Tumkuru. He is also serving as Librarian, University Library, Tumkur University, Tumkuru. His interested areas of research are application of information technology in library services, World Wide Web resource and their evaluation, search engines, webometrics, web designing, and internet use. Sir, on behalf of Seshadripuram Educational Trust, I welcome you for this webinar.
Thank you.
It is my proud privilege to introduce and welcome one more distinguished person who is presiding in this webinar, Shri W.D. Ashok, sir, Honorary Trustee, Seshadripuram Educational Trust, Bengaluru, India. Sir holds a master's degree in pharmacy, specialized in the field of total parental nutrition. He served at the famous Aladdin Hospital, Kuwait, for over 13 years. He is an honorary trustee of Seshadripuram Educational Trust. Sir is the backbone for all the events conducted in our evening degree college. Sir, on behalf of Seshadripuram Evening Degree College, I welcome and request you to preside over this webinar.
Thank you.
I would like to welcome our beloved principal, Professor N.S. Satish, sir, who is a man of perfection and a guiding force for having organized 64 international webinars conducted so far. On behalf of our Department of Library and Information Science and IQAC Department, I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Ma.
I welcome all the office bearers and trustees of Seshadripuram Educational Trust and all the principals of our sister institutions, other heads of the institutions, conveners, volunteers, and all participants who have registered across the globe. I welcome Darapa Konur Sir, Program Coordinator, Rajat BS Sir, IQAC Coordinator, and Yogananda SV Sir, Librarian of our college. And finally, I welcome our own teaching and administrative staff for this webinar. Thank you. Over to you, Ishika.
Thank you, Deepika. May I now request our first theme speaker, Dr. Neil Davis Evans, Head of Department of Information Studies, University of Zululand, South Africa, to enlighten us on the topic, ensuring the curriculation of ICTs and digital learning spaces within information study programs. Over to you, sir.
Well, thanks so much, Chair, and thank you, colleagues, for the invitation to present today. It's an honor. Let me just share my PowerPoint. If you could just tell me when you can see it.
Yes, sir, we can see.
Thank you very much, Sri. All right, so the title of my talk today is Ensuring the Curriculation of ICTs and Digital Learning Spaces within our information study programs. And I think it's quite appropriate within the global standards to present and ensure we have our digital learning spaces. So I'll give you a bit of an introduction and background to South Africa, the University of Zululand, where we find ourselves in higher education. And then we'll look at how we try and curriculate our programs to overcome these challenges. And I'll give a brief conclusion. So timekeeper, please let me know if I go over my time. I'm sure you all have looked into the unemployment rates of the world, and South Africa has one of the highest. We know there's a number of contributing factors. Apartheid essentially wanted cheap labor, and cheap labor comes at a cost, and that is an educational cost. So there is historic factors. There's also economic factors in South Africa that limit and disadvantage our economy, including state monopolies, the turbulent labor markets, et cetera, et cetera. I think you know the economy of South Africa. So we find ourselves in an unfortunate situation where many of our students come into higher education unprepared, coming from primary and secondary schools that are under-resourced and have very little ICTs and digital resources, into a situation where there's large classes, our staff vacancies are often quite high, and the infrastructure is often not sufficient. So essentially, we're at risk, and our students are at risk, and that is in the employment market. The next speaker today will look at how expectations of the employment market match our degree exit level outcomes. And that is what we need to ensure. So this is just some facts from our university. It's 2017, it's a little bit old, but you can see the stats. Most of our students who complete their undergrad degrees want to study further. They realize that undergrad degrees don't cut it these days. You need postgraduate qualifications. And I think that's why many of you are going the extra mile and studying during the evening in India. Only 8.6% of those who left with undergrad degrees were employed. So that is a risk, and that is a problem. Why? Why weren't they employed? Why did they think they were not getting employed? Now, none of them said that the qualifications were weak. But there was a comment where there's no work experience. And I think when we look at the recommendations for our LS curriculum, work experience is a must. It is something that is priceless. All right, so let's continue. We've got socioeconomic problems that need to be solved. How do we solve them? In South Africa, higher education is taught in English, and many of our students have English only as a second language. So there are language barriers, and we understand that media and technology can also act as a conjugate of information in our field. So the recommendation is to include it in the curriculum. And 21st century literacies, we're talking about digital literacies, not just reading and writing, connecting to a network, being able to look at a picture, a multimedia message, and see the story behind it, being able to read body language, being culturally fluent. So having a cross-cultural fluency to be able to appreciate other people's beliefs and perspectives. All of these things are necessary for the fourth industrial revolution. All right, so just a little bit of a background. The University of Zululand is a comprehensive university as introduced. It is situated in KwaZulu-Natal, in a beautiful area, pristine environment, game reserves, oceans, beaches, really lovely place. And we are situated out of town in a rural area, and our main campus is in Kwanlangezwa, and we've got a city campus in Richards Bay. We only offer our programs in the main campus, and currently there are 2 undergraduate programs. There's the 4-year professional library degree, and there's the 3-year degree. And I've made a mistake here. That should be a 3-year at first. So I apologize for that. It's a bit of a typo, but that's not important. The important thing is to look at the exit level outcomes for the 3-year degree. And digital literacy skills are there. Information literacy and communication skills requires ICTs. Records management and archival knowledge requires ICTs. Information behavior, most of us are adopting digital information and communication models. And being able to organize, identify, organize, and retrieve information, that is a digital information model that we're teaching. So the exit level outcomes for both of our degrees are pretty much the same. But the emphasis here is that ICTs and digital learning spaces are recommended. So I'm going to take you now to a TAO poster, and I think I have to stop sharing and share again for you to see it. So I'm going to just go to new share and share that. Please confirm, Shri, if you can see the poster.
Yes, sir, we can see, sir.
Okay. So this is a poster that is a collaborative effort from Teaching Advancement at Universities, or TAO Fellowship. We conducted our TAO Fellowship program in 2018, 2019, and our group, we refer to ourselves as eTAO, and it was mainly academics who were in the ICT and technology related fields. So if I can just zoom in and just acknowledge my collaborators. We've got Bassi Anita from University of Western Cape, Lizette Diaga from University of Pretoria, YC Lu, Grace from the University of Johannesburg, and then Pradesh Ramdal from Mangasutu, Upasana Singh from UKZN, Nontukuza Tilo from Fort Hare, and our supervisor or mentor was Jeff Jarvis from UCT. So this poster looks at a holistic design or curriculation of a degree program in higher education. If you look at the left here, we've got our program. And the first thing that we should understand is that the purpose of the program should be kept relevant. Now, in the fourth industrial revolution, in the knowledge economies and the digital age, we'll hear from our next speaker, how relevant is our programs? How relevant do our employees find our programs? So those programs contain exit level outcomes that are displayed in my PowerPoint, all right? So the program is designed with exit level outcomes. Within that program, you've got your modules at a meso level. So you've got your macro level, meso level, and micro level in your program. At the meso level, the modules, these are the subjects. And we've got module outcomes. And within the modules, we need to have learning outcomes. So the module outcomes, we say, and I just want to go back here quickly to the exit, the macro level. So these are the exit level outcomes that we discussed in the PowerPoint, and the literacies that I was talking about when I said 21st century literacies are these literacies, information literacy. So you've got your traditional alphabetic, reading and writing, being able to find information in the library. Now it's mostly Google. Computer literacy, network literacy, media literacy, visual literacy. Visual literacy is hugely important. Being able to see a message in a picture is really important in information literacy. Being able to look at a video and learn from that video. And then cultural literacy that I discussed earlier. Now, when we design, we follow this evolution where we observe. In this case, we are putting a program together, we are acting. So we design the program, we put the modules in, we understand the outcomes, exits, module, and learning outcomes. And then afterwards, we evaluate the program. And this comes from observations within the program. Are employees happy? Are students finding employment? Are students engaging in our classes, etc., etc. And sometimes it requires us to modify. And in the 21st century, we need to modify our curriculum on a, I'd say, 2-yearly basis. So what we teach our ICT students this year will be redundant in 2 years' time. We know that as students in higher education. So I'm going to go back then to the macro, the meso level, and we're saying the modules that are taught must be taught by lecturers or academics that have knowledge. And it's mainly subject knowledge that is a prerequisite to enter higher education. So subject knowledge is your content knowledge. However, TPAC is recommended, and TPAC is technological knowledge as well as pedagogical knowledge combined with the content knowledge. So you must know how to teach, as well as having the technological knowledge to be able to teach effectively in the 21st century. And again, we need to observe, reflect, act, evolve, and sometimes modify. And skills development is hugely important in academia. The modules are divided into study units, and study units are learning events. And learning outcomes should be achieved through a variety of learning events. That is what we are saying. And many of these learning events can only be achieved through digital resources. For instance, exploring the web. Our typical educational systems, the instructivists where students were receiving information and doing what they were told to do. That is long gone now. yes, you do receive feedback, and the assessments are becoming more formative. So the feedback is essential to improve. And if you make mistakes, show us how those mistakes have evolved so that we can correct them. Don't hide mistakes. And that is the beauty of formative assessments and not summative assessments. Debating online, we can have debates online through Teams. Imitating, we can watch a YouTube video and imitate. Creating, using our digital resources. Experimenting. Experiments are very expensive. I was in the chemistry field, and I know the expense of the practicals and the budgets for the practicals of these chemical experiments. So being able to record one experiment and show and let everyone experience the experiment, but then have a recording to go back and not having to do it 100 times is essential. And then practicing is important. This is the formative. Make mistakes, correct yourself and get feedback and do it again. In the center here is the essential part of a learning event that academics can't force their students to do. And that is meta-learning. After you've learned something, you need to reflect back on what you've learned and how you can apply it in your life. Some of the things you've learned you won't use and you can discard them. Other things that you've learned become essential in your daily lives. So that meta-learning is filtering the static and keeping the valuable knowledge that you've spent so much time investing in. All right, so the program has a macro, meso, and micro level, and that program is designed to learn. So let's look at the conceptions of learning. We can start at the basic conception of learning, and that is requiring factual information. This is primary school stuff. Learning the alphabet, A, B, C, D, factual informations, all of these things we can get. We can Google it. If we are then tested on that information, many of our summative assessments require us to memorize it. And I remember memorizing textbooks of chemistry, which after the exam disappeared from my memory. So it wasn't converted from short-term memory to long-term memory, essentially. And it was mainly because of the volume and also the style of learning. It wasn't formative, it was summative, it was either right or wrong. And yeah, the motivation was sometimes lacking to have a chance to get it right. All right, so applying and using the knowledge. This is where it becomes interesting. So you've learned how to do something. Now you apply that knowledge, you're taking a step over the threshold. And you can see the threshold here. Timekeeper, sorry, I'm losing time here. How much time have I got left? Chair, can I ask?
You can continue, sir.
How much time have I got left, sir?
10 minutes, sir.
10 minutes, thank you, sir. So when you pass the threshold and you've actually understood what has been learned, because now you can apply it in your local context, in your community, and you can empower yourself and you can empower your community. So understanding that, knowledge becomes power. And this is where you seek meaning, because you know it is powerful and you see things in a different way. So that is the conceptions of learning. And the output is obviously knowledge. So let's have a quick look at the conceptions of knowledge. All right, so this is very old-fashioned and possibly communist, provided by authorities. So you do what we say and nothing else. Multiple perspectives and opinions. This is where cultural fluency comes in. Awareness of knowledge as provisional. This is where we cross the threshold and understand that knowledge is relative. What works for me might not work for you in India. And what we use as knowledge must have evidence that it is actually working and there is alternatives. And we have committed to our choice because we know that it works for us and we've got experience in the knowledge of the subject. All right, so I'm running out of time now. Could talk for a while, but I'm going to skip through a lot of things. But let's just have a look at the pedagogy. Connectivism. Okay, so we said that lecturers need to understand content, technology, but also we must understand how to teach and the different learning spaces in higher education. Face-to-face, I've put in black. Since the COVID pandemic, face-to-face is a little bit of a thing of the past. Hopefully everyone gets vaccinated and we're back in our classrooms pretty soon. Face-to-face is the blended learning is combined now with e-learning, gives you blended learning. So the e-learning space is where we use our digital resources, the informal learning spaces, and the self-learning spaces comes from an intent. There must be motivation to learn. And as evening class students, I take my hat off to you as lifelong learners, because you're working during the day and that motivation to continue to learn is there. And the reason why you want to learn is to transform yourself, change yourself, and the communities that you live in. So that it comes from your own motivation. Experiential learning or work integrated learning is something that we looked at earlier. It's essential and priceless in understanding what the employer needs and how they work and what skills are required. Mentoring research is one of the best ways of learning in higher education because it involves solving problems, and problem solving is a very effective way of learning. So we said the conjugates of information, language, media, and technology. We said the filters of information are ethics, beliefs, and perspectives. And understanding that in higher education, if we've got diversity of these, we've got a very strong learning space. If we've got monotony and very similar cultures and beliefs, it is less effective in learning and challenging your beliefs. So connectivism acknowledges that language and together with media and technology act as a conjugate for information and promote greater participation, collaboration, and interaction amongst networked learners. So to be networked, you need the ICTs, you need the networks. And the collaboration, the participation are using resources like Wikipedias, blogs, forums that require learners to be networked. All right. Is that my time? Timekeepers, please confirm so I can not waste your time. I'll provide you with this poster afterwards so you can also look at it. But these are the graduate attributes that the program doesn't include in exit level outcomes, but they are essential to be employed. So every module and every program needs to ensure that these attributes, when we graduate students, they leave with these attributes. And right at the top here is ICTs. All right, I won't go through the problems. Let me just stop that share and share the last PowerPoint conclusions, and then I'll be finished. Stop me if I'm keeping you. Can you see that, colleagues?
Yes, sir. I can see.
All right, so when we are designing these programs, we must understand our learners, we must understand how they learn. And if they are auditory learners or visual verbal learners, it's no use putting large textbooks in our learning spaces. It won't be effective. Okay, I'll skip that. But the most important thing in South Africa is to improve the safety and security of our institutions. because let's face it, if learners are not feeling safe, it's very hard to learn. We've also got a tracking and monitoring of at-risk students model, but I don't have the time to go through this in any detail. Essentially, we should be providing our students with psychological support, academic support, tutor mentor support, and financial support. Some of the solvable challenges: we can blend our learning, we can improve our literacies. Competing models of education, you'll see a lot of online education models coming up and competing with the established institutions. Personalized learning is very difficult, and tracking complex thinking is a challenge that I think India is taking up. Wicked problems, these are complex. Are you the same person when you're online as offline? Ask yourself that question. Keeping education relevant, we'll hear from our next speaker. Rewards for teaching. We've got a lot of rewards for research, very few rewards for teaching well. I think I've gone through everything. So in conclusion, we need to review our teaching and learning practices, implement new teaching methods and educational technologies, and also review our curriculum. We also must understand that background matters. Where you've come from, where you are matters. But support matters, and also teaching matters when it comes to success in higher education. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your insightful theme address. I now request our second theme speaker, Dr. B.T. Sampath Kumar, Professor and Head of Department of Studies and Research in Library and Information Science, Tumkur University, Karnataka, India, to enlighten us on the topic, Library and Information Science Curriculum versus Employees' Expectations. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Highly respected Sri W.D. Ashok sir, Honorary Trustee, Seshadripuram Educational Trust, Professor N.S. Satish sir, Principal of Seshadripuram Evening College, Mr. Yogananda S.V., Librarian of this college, and most importantly, today's speaker, Dr. Evans, Head of the Department of Information Studies, University of Zululand, South Africa, who delivered a wonderful lecture on the topic, ensuring the curriculum of ICTs and digital learning spaces within information study programs. A very pleasant morning to my learned colleagues of South Africa, and very good evening to my own colleagues. A couple of days back, Mr. Yogananda S.V. called me over the phone, and he requested me to deliver a lecture on the topic, LS curriculum versus the employer's expectations. So I happily accepted the invitation today. It gives me an immense pleasure to share my views with my learned colleagues. So with this, let us jump into the topic. So shall I share the screen now? I hope it's visible to all.
Yes, sir, we can see.
So before getting to the topic, LS curriculum and employers' expectations, let me speak few words about the South of Indian LS education, because I know very well most of the participants may be from library science background. So that's fine. I would like to speak very few words about the South of Indian LS education. So as you know very well, the first training course in library science in India was established at Central University, Baroda in 1911. Later, the Punjab University started the same course in the year 1950. After that, a few certificate courses and PG courses started, especially Madras Library Association and Bengal Library Association started the certificate courses in library and information science in the year 1929, and also in 1935, the Bengal Library Association started the course in library and information science. This is how our library and information science started in our country. In fact, we have 100 years of history in this subject. Meanwhile, the postgraduate courses also started in Andhra University in 1935, Banaras Hindu University, the old university in our country in 1941 before independence, and also in University of Delhi in 1947, they started the PG courses in library and information science. In fact, the University of Delhi also started the research degree, the research leading to doctorate degree on the campus. In fact, it was first the institution in the countries to start MPhil course in library and information science in the 1977. So when it comes to our own state, Karnataka, a diploma started in library and information science at Karnataka Institute, Harvard. So after that, they started BLSC course as well as MLSC courses. So today, as per my knowledge, more than 10 universities are offering master's degree in library and information science. So let us come to the LS curriculum. Until the year 2000, most of the Indian schools in India have adopted the curriculum recommended by the UGC Review Committee, which was headed by Dr. S. Ranganathan, who is known as father of library science in India. Committee was framed, under the chairmanship of Dr. S. Ranganathan in the year 1965. The main intention is to devise a model curriculum to the LS schools in India. Later, in the year 2001, a committee was appointed by the UGC University Grants Commission, Indian government, under the chairmanship of Professor C.R. Karsidapasar. The main aim of this committee is to frame a model curriculum, keeping in view the contemporary developments in the job market, especially in library and information science in India, and also which suits the different levels of LS education. That committee, headed by Professor C.R. Karsidappa, framed a model LS curriculum. The committee suggested 60-40 approach for theory as well as the practical papers. The practical papers should include hands-on experience and also assignments, the seminar presentations and demonstrations, and also study tour. So they focus more on the practicals as well as the theory. They give more priority for both 60 theory and 40 practicals. But one thing we have noticed in the syllabi of Indian universities, particular to the library and information science, most of the LS schools, especially in Karnataka state, have implemented this model, but less priority had been given to the practical papers. So a couple of days back, I have gone through the syllabus copies of various universities in the Karnataka state. In each semester, there are 4 theory papers, whereas they have given only 2 practicals. So in total, a student who has completed library and information science will study 16 theory papers and he will study hardly 8 practical papers during the course. So do we think is it enough if we teach only 8 practical papers for a student who has completed the library and information science? So what we have to understand, what are the expectations of the employer? So when somebody wanted to, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
So something has come on the screen. So what are the expectations of the employer we have to keep in our mind while designing the syllabi? So normally when I go through the syllabi of the Karnataka state universities, with respect to the library and information science, they have incorporated the library classification where they are going to teach colon classification or UDC or BDC. It's compulsory. Most of the LA schools in Karnataka, of course in India, they have incorporated this practical. Library cataloging they are teaching. They're also teaching about the indexing, how to prepare index entries in case of information retrieval system. And also they're teaching about the computer basics as a practical, and they're teaching about the library automation software. But I am so surprised to know that most of the LA schools in Karnataka still they're teaching CSIS, VNCs, instead of teaching the Koha. Okay, and also they're teaching about the digital library software like DSpace, Greenstone, ePrints, and many more. So when we observe the syllabi of the LA schools in Karnataka state or in India, priority has been given to the theory and less priority has been given to the practicals. In my opinion, it is a professional course. It's a need of the hour. It's out of the day to focus both on theory as well as practical. So what must be included? What needs to be included in the LAS syllabi? Equal priority must be given to both theory and practical. In fact, in our own Tumkur Institute, in every semester we have 4 theory, complement to that 4 practicals. So we have given 50-50 weightage to both theory as well as practicals. So if there are 4 theory practicals, there must be 4 practicals, and there must be internship for 3 to 4 weeks in a highly reputed libraries, because once he completes the course, he needs to visit a library. He needs to work in a library for more than 3 to 4 months, 4 weeks to learn more about the practicals. And moreover, there must be project work. And apart from that, the very important thing we need to teach to the library students is that we have to cultivate the professional skills. So let us understand, so what are the professional skills? Because whenever I discuss with my learned colleagues, and when I ask them, so what are the expectations to appoint a person in our library, they mainly focus on the practical as well as the professional skills of the person who has completed the course in library and information science. So what's a professional course? Or a professional skills, a professional skill or abilities that can help to succeed in the job. So in order to succeed in any job, we must be skilled. It describes a professional skill, describes a habit or ability that positively affects the performance of an employee in the workplace. In order to succeed in our library, you must be skilled one. You must know the technology. You must know managerial skills. Everything you must know in order to succeed in the library. Okay. So what are the skills needed to become a successful librarian? So we need to teach, we need to incorporate the technical skills, where we have to explain what the technical skills must be learned by the LS graduate. So it mainly deals with the knowledge and abilities that need to accomplish ICT applications in library and other related jobs. Apart from that, we need to incorporate professional skills. Okay, so these are the skills which are very required in teaching and library programs and ICT applications. And there is a need to incorporate the soft skills so that we can teach the soft skills to the graduates of library and information science. So what are the soft skills? The personal attributes that enable someone to interact effectively and harmoniously with other people. So because normally in a library, most of the faculty students will visit the library. So we have to interact. So we have to speak to them. We have to listen their requests, and we have to provide a right information to a right user at the right time. So in order to provide such information to the users, so you must know the soft skills. And of course, we need to incorporate communication skills. It may be related to writing, listening, presenting, as well as speaking. And a librarian must have a positive attitude. So if we teach about the same in the course level, definitely he can cultivate the same when he appointed as a librarian. So he must be enthusiastic, optimistic. He must be confident and happy and encouraging. And responsibility. Normally, when we visit any library, a librarian will take care of more than 40,000 books, maybe sometimes more than 4 lakhs books. So he's more responsible. More responsibility lies on the shoulder of the librarian, because he has to look after the sources. He has to look after the people who are working in the library. So we have to teach about the responsibility. So reliance, accountability, resourcefulness, and self-discipline and consciousness. Okay. And moreover, we need to incorporate the leadership skills in the syllabi. Okay. If you teach only the theory, so he cannot work in a library as an efficient librarian unless we incorporate. So these skills, you cannot make him a good librarian. So we need to incorporate some leadership skills. Okay. A person influences a group of people by motivation and inspiration to achieve the goals and objectives. So when we teach about the leadership skills to the graduate students, definitely they can imbibe, they can understand how to lead a library. Normally in a library, maybe more than 10 to 15 faculty may be working in a library. So there must be a leader. He has to lead the whole team. And we have to teach about the teamwork. Okay. So As a leader, he must be very helpful, he must be supportive, and he must cooperate the subordinates, and he has to lead the work. And moreover, we need to incorporate some intrapersonal skills. Okay, so friendliness, nice sense of humor, self-control, as well as down-to-earth personalities. So we have to teach. So why I am telling all this? Whenever I discuss with the librarians working in a big library, normally the expectation of those librarians is like this only. They never expect to teach only theory. So we have to incorporate the practicals as well as the professional skills so that our students, our brothers can handle the library in an effective way. And moreover, we need to incorporate the listening skills. So listening skill is a key ability to receive message correctly and perhaps to avoid misunderstanding. So we have to teach how to listen to others. And writing skills. So a librarian must know very well about the writing skills. Unless we incorporate, unless we include such skills in the syllabi, they cannot learn. Of course, they may attend various conferences, seminars, and workshops. But in the graduate level, if a teacher teaches about these, definitely it will be very easy for him to understand about these skills. So writing, a process of using letters, words, symbols to express the thought, idea, and views in a written or print format. And we have to teach about the presentation skills. Many times we fail to present the content to the audience. That's why, as a teacher, we have to help them how to present the content before the audience. The presentation skills helps to deliver effective communication and services to a variety of library users. Normally, when we purchase new books, so when we subscribe the journals, when we subscribe the e-journals, we need to present the content to the audience. So unless we present effectively, the students and the faculty will not come to the library. They cannot listen our voice. You must be a good presenter. So that has to be incorporated in the syllabus so that we will teach and they will learn how to present the content before the audience. And building rapport. Okay, so building rapport is a state of amiable understanding of different kinds of persons that enable to establish a better and easier communication. And moreover, we have also teach about the teaching skills. Normally, most of the time, what we do, we only teach about the libraries and classification as the other content in the library, to the libraries and students. Apart from that, we have to teach how to teach to the students or the faculty. Normally, a teacher may teach the content to the students, whereas a librarian is a teacher of all teachers. Okay, the library professionals need to teach and guide the new and existing library users what, when, where, and how resources can be accessed, which are available maybe inside the library or outside the library. So in order to clearly teach about the resources available within the library or outside the library, he has to teach the same to the faculty and the students. Unless he knows how to teach, he cannot. He may fail to express his views to the audience. Okay. So these are the different professional skills we need to incorporate in the syllabi of LIS, library and information science. Because it's my personal experience, whenever I visit the libraries, most of the time what they tell, your students are very good, but when it comes to the skills, they fail in such a situation. So that should not happen. Apart from the professional skills, we need to focus more on practical papers. Okay, so we have to include the practical paper related to information sources, where he has to learn how to evaluate the information sources. So what are the importance of various information sources available in the library? And also we have to incorporate the practical related to information services, where we must teach about the different services, maybe SCAs or STA or newspaper clipping service or abstracting service. Because in many universities, they only included the classification of books and cataloging. Many times they failed to incorporate the syllabi, a practical paper related to the services. Unless we practically show how to prepare, how to design SCAs, how to prepare SCA, how to prepare the clipping service, how to provide a clipping service, they cannot understand. And moreover, it's a need of our to teach about the library management practically. Okay, so we have to teach about the preparation of library budget, because once a person appointed as a librarian in a library, he must know how to prepare a library budget for that year. Theoretically, we might have taught it, but practically we might have not taught the same. So we need to incorporate such paper in the syllabi of library and information course. Acquisition, book circulation forum, placing an order. Once you appoint as a librarian, you must know how to place an order. Okay, and acquisitioning entries, and we have to tell about the preparation of the library committee meeting proceedings. You must know. As a librarian, he must know how to write the proceedings when he conduct a meeting within the library committee, and preparation of annual report of the library, the preparation of library rules and regulation. See, if you teach only theory, what is management, different types of management, what is budget, what is planning, he cannot play a significant role in the library. So it's a need of the hour to incorporate such practical papers in the LAS syllabi. And we have to teach about internet sources and services. Okay, because today we are living in the digital era, we have to make use of the internet sources and services to provide the information to the library users. And moreover, we must teach about the internet as well as the search engines, web browsers, and how to make use of the search strategies of various search engines to get the relevant data from the internet. Because as we know very well, internet is an ocean of information. A librarian should know how to access the relevant information from the ocean, I mean internet. And we also teach about research methodology. Most of the LA schools have included only theory part of research methodology. When it comes to the practical, they have not incorporated. So where we have to teach how to review the literature, how to write an abstract, how to design a questionnaire, how to select a sample size, how to test the hypothesis. Before that, how to format the hypothesis. Everything must be practically taught in the classroom. Okay, use of SPSS, software package on social science. Apart from that, we have to focus on technology, how to design a website for a library using HTML or other ready-made software like a web content management system and hosting. He may use WordPress or Joomla, Drupal for designing and hosting the web. And we also teach the reference management tools like Zotero, Mendeley, EndNote, and we need to teach about the plagiarism detection software. Today, as you know very well, we need to understand the plagiarism as a librarian, because when a research scholar wanted to submit a thesis to the university, it has to be submitted to the library for checking the plagiarism. As a librarian, I must know how to check the plagiarism within the thesis. So unless we teach in the course, they cannot. So it is very important to incorporate such content in the syllabi of LAS course. You may teach your Kund or Tanujin or Authenticate. Okay, so need to include employers. Very important is we need to include an employer. He may be a chief librarian, he may be a scientist, or he may be an information officer in the board of studies. Normally, the board of studies plays a significant role in designing the model syllabi for a university. So when we include a librarian of an institution or a university or information officer from other organizations, definitely he can give his inputs so that we can include the same in the syllabi so that it became model syllabi for the course. Okay? And moreover, we need to conduct frequent meetings with the employer while revising the syllabus. So if you design a syllabus without the consultation of the employer, it will not become a perfect syllabus. Of course, most of the universities in Karnataka state, they have included the librarians from other institutions so that they can give their own opinion to modify and to revise the existing syllabus. Okay, so in the present scenario, application of ICT has revolutionized the whole concept of libraries, because of the ICT today, the shape of the library has been changed. The size of the library has been changed. Of course, library has also been changed. The system of information storage and retrieval, and also the ICT has changed the way to access the information. And we have witnessed a paradigm shift in India. Most of the libraries are switching themselves from traditional type of services to online services and e-generate library services. Okay, so just I will give how the library has been changed because of the ICT. A couple of years back, we have seen a library. That library is called a request and read library. So what is request and read? A student will visit a library and will request for a book. A librarian has to give that book. It is called request and read. physical libraries were there. Users need to physically visit the library, request for a book. A student request for a book, a librarian need to give that book to the library student or a faculty. User may be satisfied or may not be satisfied. So recently, the open access system has come. It's called pick and read. So we have moved from a request and read to pick and read because of the open access system. Still, there is a physical libraries, and user need to physically visit the library. No need to request for a book nearby the circulation section. He can or she can enter into the library and he can pick any book whichever he wants to read. And here user will borrow the book, and definitely user will be very much satisfied, because in case of request and read, a student may not be happy with the book because he has no freedom to enter into the library to pick a book. Whatever the book given by the librarian, he has to read. In case of open access system, today a librarian, a student can enter into library, he can pick and read, and he can borrow the same. And because of the ICT, today we are living the cyber world. The word is called click and read. See, very fantastic. We have moved from request and read to pick and read, and today we are in the era of click and read. So what's click and read? Today we are living in the virtual world or cyber world, and we have virtual library. If a library has designed a wonderful website, no need to visit the library. A user, a student, a faculty, a researcher can download the content from at his home or from his department at anywhere, at any time. So that is called click and read. So virtual library concept has come. Users need not to physically visit the library. So many times in many platforms, I have told very clearly, don't request your users to come to your library. Instead of that, you can push the content to the doorstep of the users. So because of the ICT, you can make use of the application of ICT. You can push the content to the doorsteps. Why should we request them to come to the library? Take an example of question papers. If we have question papers, scan it, digitize, upload to the library website. Let them download from their smartphone. Let them download from their laptop. Why should they come here? So what we have done, we have pushed the content to the doorsteps so that they can click and read. So this is called the virtual library concept. So users need not to physically visit the library. User can select and click a book, okay, on the website, and user will read the book online, and user will be more satisfied. So this is how we can see a paradigm shift in library. Normally, the concept has been borrowed from the marketing. So older days, request and buy concept was there. Request and buy. If you go to villages, there will be a small shop. A customer has to request for a product, and he used to give the product. That was called request and buy. Later, pick and buy concept has come. So big malls, big bazaars have come in various cities in India. So a customer can easily enter into a mall. He can pick and buy concept. Today, we are living in the digital world, click and buy concept. So virtual malls have come, cyber malls have come. Take an example of Amazon. No need to go to market. You can enter into Amazon, you can click and buy. The same concept we have borrowed, request and read, pick and read, click and read. See, today we are living the cyber world. Unless we educate our own students about the ICT, unless we incorporate about the practical papers, unless we teach about the professional skills, they cannot succeed in the workplace, in the libraries. So we need to produce the librarians. The librarians concept has gone. Today, our librarian is called cybrarians. So who is a cybrarian? A virtual librarian in the cyberspace. Okay, so we have enormous number of sources on the web. We need to download, because we cannot compare a librarian with a Google. A Google can give thousands or millions of web pages, whereas a librarian can provide the right information to the right users. Many times, sir, we have an internet, we have a Google, I have a smartphone, I can download any information. No, it's not like that. A Google can provide billions of information to you, but it's not filtered, it's not fine-tuned, it is not evaluated. Whereas a librarian is a person, he can download the right information and he can provide to the right user at the right time. So that is the beauty of the librarianship. Okay, a cybrian is a person is called a virtual librarian in the cyberspace, and is an LS professional who uses ICT tools and techniques to deliver the services. And moreover, the cybrarian uses internet, the web, as a resource to provide the right information to the right user at the right time. So in order to produce the cybrarians, we need to incorporate more theory paper, more practical papers, more professional skills papers, and we need to educate about the different aspects of the technology and how to make use of the technology. Then also they can handle the library in an effective way. Okay, so with this, I wind up this session. So thank you so much for giving me this wonderful opportunity to showcase my ideas about the topic, the LS curriculum versus the expectation time price. Because I know we will within a stipulated time, so I tried my level best to deliver a lecture on this topic. Thank you once again for giving this opportunity. I thank all the organizers once again. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your insightful theme address. Now, the floor is open for interaction. We will take up questions which we have received from chat box and from the registration forms. I request Nagasudha ma'am, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, to moderate the interaction session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ashika. My first question is to Neil Evans, sir. Shall I proceed to the question, sir?
Yes, please proceed.
Yes, sir.
I've just turned off my video for bandwidth constraints.
So the first question is, we need not bring students to the library, rather the library should go to the students. Would you accept it for the post-pandemic world?
Would you accept that? Just repeat the last part, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Would you accept it for post-pandemic world?
The post-pandemic world we need to solve, and the pandemic is part of the problem, but it also provides a solution to the problem. And I think our information and communication models are going digital, as the honored speaker, last speaker has demonstrated that there are various online library models, and I think we have to accept it as the future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. There's one more question, sir. Is it too costly to include ICTs and digital learning spaces within information study programs?
I think there's a shift now for the student or the learner to empower themselves with resources to learn. And many of those open source resources that were shown by the last speaker, Prof. And I think there's no reason why we should not have digital devices to live and to learn with. So it is costly, and I think governments need to subsidize some of these devices and resources, but we should definitely ensure that learners come prepared to use the devices and to learn with the devices and not use them as a distraction in their learning processes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. My next question is to Dr. B.T. Sampath, sir. Sir, shall I?
Sure.
Sir, libraries are still better than the internet. How?
See, as I told earlier, a Google cannot be compared with a librarian. If you just open Google, if you type the text, it will come out with billions of answers. Can you see all the answers? It's not possible because we don't know which link is more useful to you. Whereas a librarian is a person who can provide the evaluated answer, the trimmed, the fine-tuned answer to the student. So no need to worry about the quality. Already the content has been evaluated, and you can provide the evaluated or fine-tuned content to the student so that you can definitely rely on the answers or the content given by the librarians.
Thank you, sir. My next question is, what are your suggestions to the management of educational institutions regarding libraries?
Yeah, since I have not visited the libraries, it's very difficult to speak about how to improve. So if they are not digitized, please try to digitize the library. If they are not automated, please, you have to automate the library. As I told earlier, you asked a question to Evans about what about the post-pandemic situation, whether the library has to reach the students or student has to come to library. It's left to the students. Normally, we have to get ready. Even though if they are not coming to the library, we must be in a position to provide the information sources and service to the doorstep of the users. Take an example of Amazon or Flipkart. Today, we never visited any shop to buy the products. The product has come to my home. Even after pandemic also, definitely no need to go there. Instead of wasting my precious time, why should I go there? I can do that. In the same way, they can think of that. If they are so interested to read the books in the library, let them come. Otherwise, you must get ready to provide the services and source to the doorstep of the users. Okay, so please design your own website. Please digitize the question papers and whatever the open sources that you have that you can download from the internet. Please give the link to all those. Let them you make use of the open access sources at their doorsteps. And if we have digital library software, please upload the digital content to the website. Definitely, they can make use of the same in their department or in their hostels or in their home.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all respected speakers. That's all from the question and answer session. Over to Ishika again.
Thank you very much, respected speakers, for answering the questions of the participants. And also thank you, Nagasudha ma'am, for moderating the interaction session. A small announcement before presidential remarks. We will now send the feedback form link in the chat box as well as to your registered email, which will be active for the next 48 hours. Kindly fill the same and send back for e-certificates. The e-certificates will reach you within 7 to 10 days. Very shortly, we will meet in one more international webinar of our evening college that is on 11th of this month. The topic is Global Standards in Library Science, Session 6, in association with the University of Fort Hare, South Africa. Now, I request Sri W.D. Ashok sir, Honorary Trustee of Seshadripuram Educational Trust, to render the presidential remarks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam. A very good evening to everyone. From Seshadripuram Evening Degree College, this 65th international webinar, the Global Standards in Library Science, which has been confirmed with this platform, the session 5th, which has been held, and the team speakers, Neil Evans and Dr. B.T. Sampath Kumar, have taken a wonderful talk on their respective topics. And I just want to say that these topics are very influential in today's circumstances, because graduates who are coming out must be aware of the standards which are to be in the present world and with this pandemic around. So the graduates should have the skills which they can learn during this job assignments in the newer ways of technologies. But they must also acquire core key skills to enable them to deal with the information needs of their users. Because information communication technology, ICT, have brought metamorphic changes in the information products. Information needs and information seeking behavior of the users and the overall information in the organization are also changing. Library professionals are required to work innovatively nowadays and also to take up new roles in the information age. Library science institutes must produce graduates of higher caliber, equipped with professional recent competencies to enable to work in the rapidly changing and unpredictable world and also the information environment. One method of ensuring the library science graduates and information professionals have the appropriate training and competencies to enter the job market is to identify their needs and to incorporate this into their curriculum also becomes very important at the same time. The disciplines that have the relation with library science have influenced the employers to expect more from the professional demanding more knowledge, varied skills, and techniques. And also, I just want to say that Dr. B.T. Sampath Kumar has emphasized from the beginning. He started with the history of the library science in India, and he talked about the ratios and the theories to the practical ratios in the curriculum, what was being followed and what has to be expected in the coming days, and how equal priority of theory and practicals should be given. And also the shift in the library, he has given it in a wonderful way. That is how the request and read practice has been changed to pick and read practice. And now the virtual, it has become the click and read practice. So with these changes also, the librarian has to see that he has to come out with the new changes in the environment at the same time. In the meantime, it is most appealing to know that arguments or debates are floated in the environment saying that the librarian is not up to the mark for the new type of libraries which are coming also. So this also emphasizes the point that there is an urgent need for the creation of new generation of employable professionals and to keep up with the standards needed. Dr. Evans also gave wonderful talk, and he just said about the embedding the use of ICT into the curriculum must be considered a key priority and part of the national strategy for learning in an online world for every developing countries of the world. The reason for this is because we live in a technological world where information and communication technology, ICT, are fundamental for most activities. The importance of ICT in society is emphasized in enabling our future, which identifies ICT literate citizens as being central to economic and social goals, to improving productivity and efficacy, and to build innovative capacity and competence. The importance of ICT in schooling cannot be overemphasized. ICT literacy means the ability of individuals to use ICT appropriately to assess, manage, and evaluate information, develop new understanding, and communicate with others in order to practice effectively in the society. So I can just say that using ICT as a tool for learning enables students to effectively assess digital information to assist with investing issues, solving problems, decision making, produce creative solution to support learning and develop new understanding in areas of learning, communicate, share, and work collaboratively. All this will help them once they come up with the new ICT norms and to support these ideas. Applying ICT as a tool for learning in curriculum areas enables all the students to have an opportunity to become competent and also creative and produce the use of ICT. They are better able to achieve curriculum outcomes through effective use. They develop the knowledge, skills, and capacity to select the required understanding in the curriculum, develop new understanding, and also communication becomes more easier with the order. And to participate effectively in society, students should have the opportunity to understand the impact of ICT on the society at the same time. So I just want to thank both the speakers, Neil Evans and B.T. Sampath Kumar, for sharing this wonderful platform. And also, I just want to give a lot of emphasis for the students who have done this wonderful job for today. They have actually brought about. I just want to thank Ishika, who started with the program, the student of Seshadripuram Evening Degree College. And also, I just want to thank the coordinators, Darappa, Rajat sir, and the librarian of Seshadripuram Evening Degree College, Yoganand, and also principal N.S. Satish sir, to have brought this wonderful platform to understand both the ICT and also at the same time the LIS curriculum versus the employer's expectation, which was wonderfully given from our Tumkur University professor, Dr. B.T. Sampath Kumar, and also wonderfully given by University of Zululand, South Africa. Neil Evans sir has also answered most of the questions what was asked. Thank you both of you. At the same time, thanking all the participants. A very good evening to one and all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for entering the presidential remarks. I now request Abhishek of third year BCom to propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, Abhishek.
A very good afternoon to South America and happy evening to India. It's my proud privilege to propose vote of thanks on behalf of Seshadripuram Evening Degree College on this occasion. At the outset, I thank University of Zululand, South Africa for associating with us to conduct this international webinar. I would like to express a sincere gratitude to Dr. Neil Davies Evans, HOD at the University of Zululand, South Africa, for presenting a theme talk on ensuring the curriculum of ICTS and digital learning space with information study program. I'm humbled and grateful to you, sir. I would like to express our sincere thanks to Dr. B.T. Sampath Kumar, Professor and HOD at Tumkur University, Tumkur, India, for presenting an excellent theme talk on LIS curriculum versus employees' expectation. Thank you, sir, for your valuable words.
Thank you.
I express our sincere thanks to Sri W.D. Ashok sir, Honorary Trustee Seshadripuram Educational Trust, for rendering the presidential address. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
My special thanks to beloved, young and energetic Principal Professor N.S. Satish sir, who is a robust of our Seshadripuram Evening Degree College. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I would like to thank Darappa Konnu sir, Program Coordinator, Rajat B.S. sir, Coordinator IQAC, and Yoganand S.V. sir, Librarian of SEDC, who have helped us to materialize this webinar. I express our gratitude to all the principals, conveners, and members of our sister institutions and other colleges, academies, research scholars, students, and delegates across the globe for participating in this webinar. I would like to convey our heartfelt gratitude to Seshadripuram Evening Degree College for giving us, the students, this special opportunity to host this international webinar. We will ever remain grateful to our teaching and administrative staff for their support. Thank you, one and all. Over to you, Shika.
Thank you, Abhishek. Once again, thank you, one and all. Principal sir, can we conclude the webinar?
Sure, ma. Ashok sir, we are going to conclude, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you for
Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan sir. Thank you for joining with us. Thank you. Thank you, Sampath sir, for
Thank you,
joining
sir.
with us. Thank you.
Thank you.